Ho, ho. Hello, and I'm not going to do that. We can't have that, can we? And don't put that in, whatever you do. Welcome to episode 6 of the story of living with Suzuki's V-Strom 800 RE. We're on about 10,000 miles now. We're only about 1,000 miles, 1,500 miles or so up on the last episode. And to be honest, they've been wonderfully uneventful. I.e., this bike does as it always does, exactly what I want it to do. I've made a few modifications since. I'm going to boast about the first one that I made maybe a couple of weeks ago. I cleaned the bloody thing. Believe you me, for me that is a major event. Just out of sheer embarrassment, I just had to try and find the V-Strom that lurked within the big fat lump of dirt that it looked more like. To the most strictly clean people of you, this won't look immaculate, but believe you me, to me this is the cleanest it's ever likely to get. I ride it every day, it gets ridden in all weathers. You've got to forgive me for letting it get as mucky as it did, but now I'm I'm impressed, even if you are. Made some modifications only this morning as well. At long last, I fitted this little baby here. On the engine, the water pump the water pump itself sticks out a little bit scarily, you could argue. It looks as though it would be taken out straight away in the event of a fall. So I've just put that GB Racing cover on it. And do you know what? As I bolted it on, the instructions showed that you can also get a clutch and an alternator cover as well. So I'll be tempted to add those as well. It's just the sort of thing that stops, particularly if you're off-roading, though I don't really intend to do that too often on this one, but it would certainly stop the chances of you being unable to proceed. The other massive change I've made, when I say massive, to me it is, because adjusting tyre pressures and checking bloody chain tensions is a big deal for me in my old age. I've put a Puig side stand sort of foot plate on. If you're going to go to somewhere like the ABR festival and park this thing on the grass, there's a better chance of the side stand not digging in and the whole thing falling onto its side. I've got a Pyramid dry pack, it's got 40 litres. As someone once said, I never knowingly travel underpacked, and given all the stuff that I've got to carry around with me because I ride this bike every day, that allows me to cater for everything and keep everything bone dry as well. Back to the bike, it's just doing everything I want it to. I had a service recently, it was the 7,500 mile service, cost about 200, 250 depending on where you live, possibly a tad more if you're down south where things are, where beer costs about bloody £8 a pint. It's probably because of the labour charge. It needed new plugs, actually. That's just a schedule change. I was surprised that you had to change them that early. That's what Suzuki say you should do. And because you have to take the tank and the airbox off and get right into the sort of depths of the engine, it's got to take a bit of time. The lovely chap at Suzuki, Paul Saby, I love you. He changed the air filter as well. He said, look, it was due to be changed at something like the next service, whatever that would be. And while you had everything down, it was just safer to just change it rather than just inspect it as the schedule suggests you should. New oil and filter, good to go again. Let me talk about stuff that I don't like on this bike, or things that I think it doesn't do quite so well. I've mentioned this before. First gear's a bit tall, and with the sharpness of the clutch bite, it just seems to have its bite within about 2 or 3 degrees of the clutch lever's travel. There's a tendency to stall. Bar that, I really do think it's hard to fault. I was complaining of the brakes not being as sort of sharp and powerful as they should have been at Cadwell, but when Paul took the pads out during that service, it was easy to see why. They were just about at the metal. I think another 2 laps probably would have heard the sound of metal upon metal. He's put some new pads in and he spent quite a bit of time cleaning the calipers, and they are back to how they should should be. They really are quite impressive again. I've got some aftermarket pads to put in. I'll tell you more about that next time. I'm going to swap to them straight away, actually, because to do a back-to-back test, a fair back-to-back test, I think you should pop them in when the standard setup is at its best. I'm happy with the comfort, love the engine, absolutely love that engine. I really do think it's going to be a classic when they write the history of Suzuki motors. Suspension, I haven't got the new stuff yet, I just haven't got round to it. I'm also going to put an end can in, I promised that last time, I just haven't got round to that just yet. All in all, it's still a 9.9 out of 10 for me. I really do rate this motorbike for doing everything and anything at any given time. Now, promise me you don't put that in, because it just yeah, of course, yeah, of course, because I know that you've put a few funnies in. Well,